Good morning, everyone. Uh, I hope all guys are doing well in this kind of sunny Sunday, but there's a bit wind. But thanks for everyone who are here watching us. Just want to check here the sound. Everything was working fine. Everything seems to be working well. That's good. So we are live. So I hope everyone is having a great time. I hope everyone is enjoying this Irish summer that unfortunately is not really picking up. But I hope from next week is going to be better. But I would like to welcome everyone. For those who are here for the first time, we are doing these speeches here on Sundays and Thursdays and Tuesday nights. Tuesday night and Thursday night at 7:15, and on Sundays we are doing that 11:15. And we are doing this because for those who are here living Dublin or used to live in Dublin, you guys know that we have our Spirited Center, but because of the COVID-19, it's closed. And we all know that Ireland is easing up all these restrictions. But just to let you guys know, we don't have any news yet about when we're going to go back to the Spirited Center, the Lantern Center. So once we have any news, you guys can be sure that we're going to be sharing that news with you. I see here people such as Ka Kemi, good morning everyone, Silvia Góes, Tatiani, Ka again, Stephen, good morning everyone. So today we're going to be talking about a topic which for me personally is quite challenging, self-forgiveness. We're going to start doing our initial prayer, and then we're going to start to try to share some insight with you guys. And if you guys have any questions at the same time, please share with us. You guys can send questions at any time, and we can stop uh, and do and reply your questions. Let me just check here technical issue, guys. Let me just see if it's working all good. Can you guys see me? Let me just see here. Steven is saying that he's not seeing me. Why he's not seeing me? Okay. Let me see. Okay. Why? Okay, it's working now. Steven just told me that I was off for a while. I don't know, guys. I didn't touch anything. But let's do the initial prayer and see how it goes. For those who want to close their eyes and take a deep breath. We'd like to thank for the good spirits who are supporting us here today, who are supporting the Spirited Society of Ireland, the Irish Spiritist Federation also, and all the Spiritist movements in Ireland and in Europe. We'd like to ask the blessing of the good spirits and Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, who is one of the greatest spirits in charge of the Spiritist movement in Europe. Thanks for the opportunity to be here on this Sunday morning. The opportunity to be here sharing the Spiritist teachings, the teachings of Jesus. Thanks for the spirituality who are supporting and guiding us. And I really wish a pleasant talk here for us today. And I hope this talk may help yourselves and myself also. Thank God, and so be it. Okay, so let me see. We are all good here. So you guys can see me, correct? Okay, I have here a lot of people. I have here Leandro, Daniela, Samantha, Roberta, Cassia, and so good morning, everyone. So the talk here today is going to be self-forgiveness, as I said. But first, before I go any further, if you guys are okay doing that to make this presentation a bit more, let's say, interactive, do you guys have any definition for self-forgiveness that you guys would like to share with me in the next 5 minutes? Would that be okay? Anything that you guys believe self-forgiveness is, please, is that okay? But of course, self-forgiveness for a lot of people, it might be something quite difficult. But why do we have to do it? I left this picture here, which I believe is quite representative. You see, it's a girl with chains in her arms, and she's breaking through it. So she's setting herself free. So self-forgiveness for a lot of psychologists, though I'm not a psychologist, please forgive me if I say anything stupid here about psychology. But they believe once we forgive ourselves, we are able to walk a bit lighter, a bit freely. It's like if you were a car, yeah, or if you are a balloon, let's say. If you are a balloon, you guys know that you have that sandy bags beside the balloon, which once you let that bag goes off, the balloon goes higher. Okay, or like a car. If you are a car and if you have a lot of weight on your car, if you leave the weight behind, you can keep going faster. And self-forgiveness, it's the same for us. It's a way that maybe if we leave something behind, we're gonna walk a bit better. We're gonna walk a bit happier. We're gonna walk a little bit lighter, as I said. So self-forgiveness, it's something, it's a process that we have to try to do for ourselves, but there are several steps according to Spiritism. And of course, if I say something here, if I forget something here from the Spiritist works, please forgive me also. But we're gonna try to use the next slides to try to illustrate how this process works. I have here Kakemi, our friend from the Spiritist Center. She said, I understand that I'm learning and I will make mistakes, unfortunately. Yes, we are all making mistakes. Some of us, we make more than the others, and we insist in the mistakes. But as André Luis and Emmanuel, they say to us, each one of us will have our own time. So perhaps you see someone, let's say here, because I see, thank God, I have a lot of friends from the Spirit Center here. If there is a friend of the Spirit Center that we always say to that person, let's say, for example, you shouldn't do this or that. Like, why are you doing this? Why you keep doing that over and over? And for us who are outside of this situation, it's easy to say. Or for us who maybe we went above already, we learned that lesson. So for us, let's say someone is talking about gossipy or about, I don't know, forgiving someone or even self-forgiving, as the topic is about today. Maybe we say that to someone, and we think that person is being lazy, or that person doesn't really want to change, or that person is really like not really doing anything to improve, because we see that person with our own eyes. We don't put ourselves in their shoes. Maybe that person that you are pointing your fingers and you are saying, come on, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't be gossiping around. Maybe for that person, that's something really difficult. It's a really challenge. It's a big challenge for that person. Maybe for that person to leave that vice, that downside is quite difficult. And maybe for you, it's easy. So yes, we tend to judge the others without really knowing what's happening with them. But once we talk about self-forgiveness, as I said, we have to understand first how the process of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and forgiveness works. But we have to understand also how the process of correcting an action that we did working. In the Spirit's book, we have here the question: does sincere repentance during life erase all the faults of that life and bring the offender back in God's favor? So he's basically saying to us, if you commit any kind of mistake, okay, for yourself or against someone, if you simply repent, is that enough? Is that really enough? And I know I have some friends who share different beliefs, regarding to religion, and in their belief. And here, of course, we're not judging. I'm just giving an example. And actually, my brother, he believes that okay, if you do something, if you go and if you repent inside from your heart, and if you repent, if you ask forgiveness for God to God, it's enough. Even if that person that you committed that bad action that didn't really forgive you. So what does the Spirit's book says to us? The repentance helps advance the betterment of the Spirit. However, wrongdoing must be atoned. So he's basically saying to us, once you repent, it helps to easy go in this process. But that action that you did must be fixed. It's like this: we go there and we destroy, a garden. We just go there and start to destroy a garden. Why I'm giving the example of a garden? Because sometimes we are like big elephants. I mean, I don't think there is any small elephant unless it is a baby. But I mean, imagine if that you are an elephant and you are walking through a garden. You want to help maybe your giraffe friend who is asking for a flower, who is in the middle of that garden. And what do? You go there, you walk to the middle of the garden, destroy everything in front of you to collect that flower to give to your giraffe friend. So what I'm trying to say is here is this: that sometimes we have the goodwill to do something, but our goodwill is not enough if you don't act properly. Sometimes we want to do good, but we cause even more harm to the others and to ourselves. That's why we have to watch. We have to pay attention into our actions, especially if people that we love are saying around us, "Hey, what you are doing, it's hurting me, and it's hurting the others. Don't you see?" Of course, we shouldn't always listen to everyone, but you have to analyze. If a lot of people are saying the same thing, it doesn't mean that it's true, but analyze. Maybe ask an opinion of someone that you believe is wise, and ask for more opinions and try to see. For us in Spiritism, it's easy. Not easy. Easy, I mean, it's completely the wrong word. But what I'm trying to say is, for us, we always say, if anything that you are doing, it's hurting someone else, it's not really the best thing to do. But sometimes we do that. So let's not be this elephant who wants to do something good, but in order to do something good, to collect the flower, we destroy the garden. So once we repent, it helps us, but it's not really enough. We have here in the Heaven and Hell, Céu e Inferno, which is a book that a lot of spiritists we don't really study. But this book is a book which I kind of really enjoy studying, because this book, part of half of the book, it is examples of spirits who came to the mediumship meetings, not only in France but in America and around Europe, and they were bringing to the medium, to that mediumship meeting, their suffering after life. And some spirits there, they explain that they did a lot of bad actions. Some of them, they killed people, they cheated on their husband, wife, their partners, or some of them, they were very, they were dealing really bad with money. But a lot of examples, some of them committed suicide. And these spirits, they come to us and they explain to us what they are suffering in the spiritual world. The first thing which this part of the book brings to us is like this: once you pass the way, it's not the spiritual world is not exactly the same for each one of us. That will depend on our actions, but that will depend also on our conscience. Because a lot of spirits in heaven and hell, they have a conscience. They really didn't do like a lot of bad things, but they have conscience. They weren't able to self forgive them, to let things go. And in the chapter 7 of this book, there is a part which I believe each one of us we should study, which is the penal code of life to come, o Código Penal da Vida Futura. And in this item 9, there is a lot of items in this chapter, but I'm going to read here the item 9. It says, every fault committed is a debt that must be paid. If if it be not paid in the present earthly life, it will be paid in the next one. So he's basically saying to us, any action that we do, we're gonna have to fix it. Here he used the word paid. I don't really like this word, but it's a way that the spirits use it to kind of to because the spirits understood that that would be the way that we would comprehend their message. Okay, but everything that we do, we're gonna have to fix it. It's simple as that. It's like that elephant. After that elephant destroyed the garden, who should fix the garden? The other animals around? No, he is gonna have to fix that garden. So he had the good intention to try to do something good, but because he did without thinking, he just took the action without really uh, analyzing if that was the best action. He destroyed quite a lot, and that's what we do. So he's gonna have to fix that garden. So we're gonna have to fix our debts, not the others. Let me just see here, because here, okay, I'm going to stop now because I see there is a lot of comments because I was checking here the PowerPoint. Just to we have here Stephen saying to us. Let me okay, technology for me is not really okay. Let me go here. Okay, Stephen says to us, know your limits, recognize your weakness, and do not allow with interfere in your evolution. Also, forgive those who hurts and ask for forgiveness when we hurt someone. Stephen said all this speech. Now I can go home. That's it. I'm going to enjoy the sun. Let me see. No, the sun's not there, so I'm gonna be here. Sorry for the joke, guys, but Stephen said everything. Yes, we have to know our limits. But how to know our limits? Let's bring that elephant again. That elephant perhaps didn't know how heavy he was once he went to the garden to try to help his friend. So he had only the goodwill to do something, but he didn't know himself. So his limits were some kind of knowledge that perhaps he didn't understand. He haven't understood it yet. But perhaps now, after doing that, and maybe after the reaction that he created, maybe his other friends would say, "Hey, did you see what you did? You destroyed everything just to do one thing. Is that really worth? Is it really worth?" So sometimes doing mistakes, we learn our limits. And also we have to forgive. We have to ask forgiveness for those who hurt us. And that's what the heaven and hell will explain to us soon. So we have to ask forgiveness to the others, and we have to forgive ourselves and let it go. And but this forgiveness aspect, as it says here, it starts acknowledging that you committed something which wasn't good. Okay, we have here Cristiane also, Kellen, Rejane from Austria, saying good morning to us. Good morning to you all, guys. Dona Vera here, Jersey, and Jersey say some things here. Let me see. Okay, let me get here. So Jersey says, for sure, we need to forgive ourselves, but we need to learn with our mistakes and do not do it again. After all, we are in this planet to learn too. I completely agree with Jersey, 100%. But at the same time, that's what I said before, Jersey. Yes, we shouldn't do that mistake again. But for some of us, it's a bit more difficult. I'm not trying to soften up, No, it's not the point. But yes, the Spirit's books say we shouldn't do that again. The Gospel says that to us. But real life, unfortunately, sometimes says otherwise. Says to us that it's quite difficult to leave something behind. It's like this: if you have done one kind of action through the entire, throughout 12 reincarnations, 15 reincarnations, whatever. So, and in that, the following reincarnation, we realize that sometimes it may be difficult for us to fix that because we have been doing that quite a lot. But it's a process. Once we accept that we are in the wrong path, it's easier to fix. But I agree with you. Let me see here. So we have to fix everything. But later on, in the he says also, the book says also, heaven and hell, repentance, expiation, and reparation are the three conditions necessary for the facing of a fault and the suppression of its consequences. So it's basically saying to us here, only in this part here, we could give a speech of 1 hour, but it says we have to first repent, but we have to fix what we did, and we have to repair. These are the three conditions which are necessary for us to fix that, to let that thing behind. And sometimes expiation may hurt us quite a lot. And also, once we are expiating something or we are suffering something in life, we think that that's too much, or I don't deserve that. Why am I suffering this? And this too much that we think, if you really are in the spiritual world, we would see that's not really too much. What I'm trying to say is that the spirits, they don't ask us to correct all our mistakes in one reincarnation. It's like this: you live with 50 reincarnations trying to acquiring several vices, and then do you really think that in one life you're going to have to become an angel? No. Sometimes we come back to earth to fix one problem, and one problem only. And once we fix that problem, it's like we are opening the door. We are making things easier for the next reincarnation for us to fix. Maybe not one problem this time, but maybe two or three. And that's the way how it goes. So we don't really are fixed. We are not really living our life uh, just kind of to be suffering. No, we are not. We are here uh, to learn, to progress, are this said to us. But we are here to learn also this lesson of self-forgiveness, of because otherwise we're not going to be able to walk freely. That's why these three aspects here are important: repentance, expiation, and reparation. So we have to repair. And how to repair? Each case is one case, but perhaps in one life you had a really bad relationship with someone, and that person maybe really did, try to, maybe that person killed in a previous life, or that person poisoned your water, whatever, or maybe you did something to someone also. And how do you fix that? How does life try to help us to fix that? Because life doesn't say to us, you have to fix it, that's your problem. No, the spirituality gives to us the correct tools. And what are these tools? For instance, quite simple, I'd say. It's quite simple. Hard to really to live on it, to be on that situation, but it's quite simple. The spirituality does like this. Okay, you had a problem, let's say, I'm gonna give here Steve an example. Steve is gonna be my example here today. I had a problem with Steve in a previous life. What happens in the next life? Maybe Stephen will come as my son, or maybe I will come as his brother. So life the the necessity to live together will try to soften up that issues that we had before, the troubles that we had. So love will be the best tool here to fix it. And then living that life, perhaps we may have some trouble in the beginning. I'm gonna give you the example of André Luiz's mother. André Luiz, once he goes to the spiritual world, André Luiz, which is from the spirit of Astral City, Nosso Lar, André Luiz says to his mother, "Mother, why are you going to reincarnate again on Earth?" She didn't have to reincarnate on Earth, as long as I remember from the book, but she said that she would like to reincarnate to try to fix things with her husband. Not that she did something against her husband. On the contrary, he did. He had two mistresses, you know, outside of his of his wedding, of his marriage, and so he had this kind of crazy life with women before. But at the same time, André Luiz's mothers, she understood that the only way to fix it, him is not punishing him, is to making him see that what he did wasn't really the best thing, that he caused suffer to the others. So what was her plan? She says, "I'm gonna go back to the spirit. I'm gonna go back to Earth. He's gonna be my husband again, and I'm gonna have two daughters. They're gonna be these two mistresses." And André Luiz goes nuts and said, "Come on, mom, are you crazy? How come you would like to have these two women as your daughters?" And she says to André Luiz, "Because that's the way that your father is going to start to learn to love them in a different way." So, just as an example, maybe André Luiz's father was there, and he's gonna see once she's 16, 17, whatever, she comes at home with a boyfriend, and what happens? He's gonna have to allow someone else to love her. So he's gonna have to try to let this obsession goes away, and that's the process which the spiritual world used to us. It's love, only love to forgive us. Here, I have this phrase which, unfortunately, some people are using the wrong way. Then you know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So once you know, as Stephen said, your limits, once you know um, your real self, it's much easier to set yourself free. And then becomes here the self forgiveness part, you know. But before we go into self forgiveness, I have to explain something which perhaps in some for us in the spiritist movement, it can be quite bad interpreted. We don't have responsibility with people. We have responsibility with law, with the law. And which law we talking about? With the law of love. What I'm trying to say. Imagine if you did something really bad to someone, and you go there, as Stephen said here, you go there and you ask forgiveness for that person, and you ask forgiveness. It's not because you ask forgiveness that everything is all right. As I said, maybe that person will need 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, an entire life to forgive you. I don't know what you did, but maybe you did something really bad. Or maybe that person made in their mind that thing really bad. That person wasn't able to forgive you also. So maybe you did something which wasn't that huge, but that person made that thing look massive. But you try. And if that person really, after a while, doesn't want to forgive you, it's their problem. But still, remember, as we said here, you're gonna have to repair your action. But do you really have to repair your action with that person? No. Yes, the ideal scenario, uh, the ideal would be to go there and to repair your deed with that person. But maybe that person is not ready. I'm gonna give you an example here, which please, 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 I hope no one understand me in a bad way. If someone disagrees with me, I'm sorry. Please forgive me what I'm going to be saying here now, but using spiritism as basis, okay? I'm going to be using only spiritism. That's not my opinion. Divaldo Franco says once that a woman who she was helping, other women to commit abortion. Again, we're not going to go if it's wrong or correct. Spiritism believes that once you have a life, even if it's even if that woman is just pregnant for over 1 week, there is a life there already. Okay, that's why I'm not going to go through in the moral aspect here, say if it's wrong or not. But again, Spiritism believes that there is a life in that wound, that that woman is carrying a life. Using this sense, which Spiritism brings to us, Divaldo Franco says, okay, you help that woman to commit an abortion. That's fine. What can you do now? Are you going to be punishing yourself? You have so like a lot of life ahead. What are you going to be doing to the end of your life? Are you going to be living with that huge ball of metal, you know, on you, attached on you, and not allowing yourself to keep going? Or instead of doing this, I'm using as abortion here, but could be any kind of action. Okay, if you go there, if you betrayed your wife, for example, and you go that time keeps passing, and you still have that heavy conscience on you, what are you gonna be doing? You're gonna be living like this forever. And some people, they start to drink, they start to use drugs, they really start to go in a. I'm not here judging like if you should be using drugs or drinking. I'm talking about excessive actions. I'm not talking about the action, but the excessivity aspect of any kind of action. So some people they start to live in a life which doesn't really help them much. But Divaldo Franco says to her, instead of having this heavy conscience on you, ask forgiveness. Start praying to all the spirits that you helped to not to come here to earth. That you really were, yeah, that guilt. Sorry, Karina gave me a correct word here, guilt. Yeah. So sometimes we are too guilty. But think like this. Jivald said to us, instead of having this on you, go now and help as many kids as you can. Help, but help all the kids that you can. Help all the pregnant women that you can. Go and help everyone that you can. That's gonna be the beginning of you to repair your deeds. And like the Apostle Peter said, love covers a multitude of sins. So Divaldo was saying to her, you cannot change the past. Don't, it's impossible. But you can try to do a different journey from now on. It's like the sun. The sun rises every day. Divaldo was saying to her, be like the sun, rise and rise strong. Try to only to do good to the others, and then you are in the correct way. And of course, she will face something. Of course, she will face everything that we do as the heaven and hell says to us. We're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have to repair that mistakes that we did. But once you do your best, once you go there and you start to spread kindness, love, charity. Charity, I'm not talking about here charity of giving something to someone. Charity, I'm talking about in a bigger sense. When you try to be really resilient to the others, once you put yourself in the shoes of the others, that difficult person that you have at work, at home, in the spirit center, that person who doesn't give you good morning, or you say, that person is not nice, because that person, whatever, doesn't matter with action. Once you start to be kind with that person, you are repairing. You are kind of you are putting oil, in once you have a bicycle and your chain is a bit what's the word? I forgot the word now. But you are trying to repair, and how to repair with love. So here we can say that forgiveness is charity. Forgiveness is charity in a way that we are giving, we are trying to be resilient, we are trying to practice as much as we can love towards the others. But also, self forgiveness is self healing. That's the process which that woman that was talking to Givaldo, she had to go through. She had to go through this self healing. She had to repair herself. But time plays a big part here. Even in forgiveness or in self forgiveness, we think everything must be too fast to us because we live in a time of speed of everything. But these things it takes time, a lot of time. And here we have experts here. I mean, psychologists, doctors, religious people, a lot of everyone who knows a little bit about who studies what a guilt can the effect of guilt on someone. They say that normally we have five types of guilt. Guilt for something that you did. Yes, you really committed that mistake, that action. Guilt for something that you didn't do, but you wanted to do. So sometimes we think about something that you didn't do it because maybe, let's say, I'm gonna give a really simple example, but you guys will get what I'm saying. You guys have a huge chocolate cake and you are on diet, but you love chocolate cake. Oh God, you love chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. And what you do, you don't eat that chocolate cake, but that's something that you wanted to do it. But you know that eating that chocolate cake will um, damage your diet. So it's not something that you did, but something that you wanted to do it. But you have still have that kind of guilt in your conscience. Guilt for some guilt for something that you think you did. Sometimes we carry for so many years guilt for something that we think we did. Sometimes we say something to someone that we think that thing damaged that person's life, or that action was something so small and you made it huge. And maybe after several years, you go and talk to that person, and that person said, "Are you mad? Or what's the story? Why are you guilt? Why are you feeling guilt because of this? I don't even remember what you did. Forget it. Let it go." And also we have that guilt that you didn't do enough. A lot of times, I'd say maybe it happens with parents. I'm not a parent, but I've seen a lot of cases around. Let's say that father, that mother who does everything for their child, everything, gives the best clothes if they can, the best material condition, gives a lot of love, but that person turned to be not the best person to be around. Maybe that person starts doing, committing crimes, or starts to be quite really harmful to the others. So that kind of guilt, that parent then starts to feel guilt that he didn't do enough. He didn't really help that children enough, especially when if the children passes away. In that movie, Mothers of Chico, which is a movie that you guys can find on YouTube. It's a beautiful movie that Chico Xavier in his life, one of maybe, I mean, the two biggest missions of Chico was to spread spiritism, write psychograph in the books, but also to help the mothers who came to him and said, "Chico, I lost my son. Please help me. Say something. Say that he's well. Where is he? Please give me some news." And maybe that children, that person passed away in a really bad way, maybe with drugs, having an overdose or something like this. And that parent starts to feel really guilt, you know. But maybe, in the case of Chico Xavier explained that most of the time it wasn't the parent's fault. Not all the time, but a lot of times, because that was the nature of that spirit. He chose to do that actions. When I mean nature, we are all good. We don't have bad nature, but we still have some problems that we have to fix. And that problem that we have, they are still we are still being guided by them. We are still being guided by the animal instinct, as Joana de Angelis says to us. But going further here, guilt that you're not that you are doing better than the others. Some people they feel guilty because of this, especially if you get a good job. Let's say you have a lot of brothers and sisters. You have like myself, we are 7 siblings, and maybe if you are doing really well in life, sometimes you start to feel a bit guilt because you really the others, your brothers and sisters, they're not doing well. So sometimes you feel guilt because you simply took the correct decisions. You put hard work on the tasks that you were doing. And this kind of guilt, guys, they are like this ball of metal that we are seeing with this lady. They hold us. They hold us, and it doesn't allow us to keep going. That's why I'm giving these 5 examples of guilt, but there are other examples. But we have to let this guilt to goes away. And here we're gonna use the example of Zaqueu or Bezerra de Menezes. Zaqueu, for those who doesn't know, he used to be a publican. He used to charge, taxes of his fellow Jewish beings. So Zaqueu, once he was there, he had his conscience for a while. He felt guilt because he knew that what he was doing wasn't really the best thing that he was doing. That wasn't the best action. And Zaqueu starts to feel really guilty because he starts to hear about a man called Jesus who was walking around Galilee, Nazareth, and that man was talking about forgiveness, about love, about the kingdom of heaven. And Zaqueu was quite curious about that man. And Zaqueu said, okay, I'm going to meet that Jesus. And Zaqueu, according to the Bible itself, Zaqueu was a man who was quite short in height. He was, he was a short man, basically. So there was a lot of people around passing around Jesus, and Zaqueu was trying to go there and try to see Jesus, but everyone says, come on, Zaqueu, go away. You tax your own people, you charge money from your people, and you borrow money to people in order to make profit, but not something you do in a way which is not fair. So go away, Zaqueu. Who are you to see Jesus? Go. And Zaqueu said, okay, my brothers here, my fellow Jewish beings, they don't want me to go close to Jesus. So Zaqueu goes there, and he climbs a tree, as you guys can see here in the picture. And Jesus looked up and sees Zaqueu. And Jesus said to Zaqueu, Zaqueu, come on, come down. I'm going to eat in your house today. And actually, I believe he said the truth. I don't remember exactly the words which Jesus said in the gospel, but Jesus said to Zaqueu, the salvation will come to your house, today. The salvation is with you tonight. And Zaqueu, okay, he accepted. So he goes and starts to talk to Jesus. Zaqueu, he had a movement that a lot of us, we dare to don't have it, to don't do it. Zaqueu, he was guilt financially because he was borrowing money through his friends, trying to be really smart, trying to make a lot of profit on people. He was charging taxes for the Roman Empire. He wasn't a good man, financially speaking, let's say. But Zaqueu, instead of carrying that half ball of guilt, he left that ball go away and said, I want to change. I want forgiveness. I want to become a better person. That's why he go, and no one wants to help him. He climbed that tree and said, I want the change in my life. And a lot of us, we don't do this movement. We carry that guilt on us, with us. We don't really do this movement of saying, okay, now it's time to let it go. What can I do from now on? Okay, I commit a lot of mistakes with certain people. Okay, I'm gonna try to repair with with that people. If I'm not able to do that, I'm gonna try to repair with others. I'm gonna try to spread as much love as I can. And that's what Zacchaeus did. Zacchaeus said to Jesus, all the ones which I caused any financial injury, I'm gonna be paying to them 4 times. So let's say if Zacchaeus, was making profit of 100 to someone, he would give to that person 400 and would give back also that money to that person, and he would do that with everyone. And Zacchaeus was quite rich at that time, and Zacchaeus started to become quite poor. He started to have less, but his conscience was much lighter because he left behind that guilt. He tried to fix, he tried to repair. It was really a challenge to him to do this movement because for Zacchaeus at that time, the financial aspect was his Achilles heel, was his weak point. It's the same for us. Sometimes we can be someone who still have a lot of problems in the sexual aspects, in the sexual realms, or we are someone who are still attached to a lot of kinds of pleasure related to drink or drugs, or maybe you are just someone who are too attached to someone to like you don't allow people uh, to be themselves. You want that person to be only yours. You want to hold that person with you. You don't allow that person to be free. Or maybe you are someone who likes power, for example, and maybe that's your weak spot. Zacchaeus' weak spot was money in that reincarnation. Was a challenge to him, but he let that go. And I think he came after in the book Ave Cristo. I forgot the name of him I have here. Okay, I forgot. I think it was brother. What's his name? God. I have it here, guys. Irmão Corvino, Brother Corvino, or Quinto Varro. That was two reincarnations which Zacchaeus had after in the book Ave Cristo. And then after several incarnations, Zacchaeus reincarnates as Dr. Bezerra de Menezes in the northeast part of Brazil. And in that reincarnation was the game changer for him. He became the doctors of the poor. So in previous reincarnations, he learned to self-forgive him, to allow certain things to simply go and do a new restart, a new fresh restart. And then in the incarnation as Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, he was a bit stronger, morally stronger. Then he came to help more people. Then to be talking about Bezerra de Menezes again is another hour. So we're not going to go through the Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, but for those who are in the Spiritist movement, we know how important he is to us, you know, and how important his work in the spiritual world is for the mediumship, for all the Spiritist movement in Europe. So he's a spirit who perhaps is still, I wouldn't say that he still have vices to improve, but he's not a perfect spirit yet. But according to, I forgot the book that Chico Xavier psychographed, that once he passed away, Dr. Bezerra de Menezes was given the option to reincarnate in any planet, in anywhere that he wanted in our galaxy. Some people, they say that he could reincarnate in Sirius, where Alcyone from the book Renuncia, where she lives. That would be the place that he would go if he chooses to leave Earth. But then he begs to Jesus and to Mary, to his mother. We call the Holy Mother Mary, and said, "Please, Allow me to stay here, close to Earth, but allow me to stay even closer to Brazil. Yes, to our country, Brazil. For most of us, we are here Brazilian. So he wanted to help us. So instead of going to the higher spheres, he decided to be here with us, trying to help us to progress. And each nation here, England, Ireland, Austria, Germany, we have these higher spirits who are supporting the nations, not only Brazil, guys, okay? So uh, then Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, he had to go. He could go, but he decided to stay. I have here Claudia said, good morning. Okay, she's from Montevideo. Let me have, she has a question here. Good morning. Blessings from Montevideo. You said that the rich Zacchaeus was one of the reincarnation of Dr. Bezerra. Which book says that? To be honest, I don't really remember the book. I think that was a psychograph of Chico Xavier, but that was a psychograph. I'm gonna try to search, and I'm even gonna have you here, Claudia, and I'm gonna send that text to you guys. That information which I'm giving here, it wasn't to be in the speech, but it just came as an inspiration. But yes, I'm 100% sure that Zacchaeus was Dr. Bezerra de Menezes was the incarnation of Zacchaeus. If I'm not mistaken, Chico and Divaldo, they said the same thing. But forgive me if I don't have the book exactly, the exactly name of the book here. We have here people. Let me just see. We have more people. Oops. And here, Donna Girs again on the spot. She says, "Thanks God for we have the opportunity of reincarnation to learn as many times as we need." Yes, and that's the beauty of reincarnation, because reincarnation allows us to be ourselves. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna have to repair these mistakes. We're gonna have to forgive the other ones that committed mistakes to us, and we're gonna have to learn to self-forgive us if we want to go to progress. Self-forgiveness, guys, it's so important as forgiveness. It walks hand in hand to hand. It walks like really close to each other. If you're not able to do self-forgiveness, also it's, yeah, Karina said here that it was in the book Ave Cristo, but I'm not sure if in the book Ave Cristo it says about Bezerra de Menezes. But thanks, Karina, thanks very much. Yeah, but yeah, in the book Ave Cristo, it says a lot of things about the reincarnation of Zacchaeus. Many thanks for the. Yes, I'm gonna try to send that for you today, Claudia. And so this process, guys, if we don't learn how to do this process of self-forgiveness, I'm sorry, because we always say we have to forgive the others, but how about us? How to make our journey easier? I can give you many examples here. We always say Paul of Tarsus, he was in charge for so many deaths for the first Christians, but he had to self-forgive himself and to progress, to do his beautiful work that he did. So he just self-forgiving himself, so everything was fixed. No, Paul was decapitated in Rome. I'm not saying that he was decapitated in Rome because of his mistakes, but what I'm trying to say is that the law of action reaction will take place, okay? Depending on the actions that you do. You're gonna have to repair that action. And suffer may come to us, not because God is bad or spirits are bad, but as a tool for us to progress. Suffer may come to us to make us to understand, look, you are suffering now, but how about all the other ones that you are suffering? Chico Xavier said to Arnaldo Rocha, no, what's his name? Oh God, I'm forgiving names here today. Oh God, I forgot the name, but he was with Chico Xavier. He was living with Chico Xavier for like over 50 or 60 years. Arnaldo Rocha. Chico Xavier said to Arnaldo Rocha, once his wife, May passed away, and Arnaldo Rocha was suffering quite a lot. She said, Naldinho, because Chico Xavier used to call him Naldinho. Naldinho, you are suffering, but it's good for you to be suffering now, because now you are seeing the suffering that you caused in the others in the previous lives, Naldinho. I'm not saying that all the suffering that we have comes from a previous life. Please do not assume as do not take this as an entire truth. No, most of the things that we suffer is because of the actions that we committed in this life, because of our mistakes here. But there are some things which, of course, comes from previous lives. But Chico Xavier was saying to him, was trying to teach a lesson to Ronaldo Rocha that it's not nice to suffer, but it's better to suffer than to make the others suffer. Because once you make someone suffer, you get uh, more responsibility, you know, over your shoulders. You're gonna have to repair that. Once someone makes us suffer, is their problem. It's not our problem. We don't have many minutes. If you guys have any questions, I hope I was able to explain a little bit about self-forgiveness. But as I said in the beginning, there is no way of only talking about self-forgiveness if we don't talk about forgiveness, how an expiation, how a mistake is fixed, according to the Spirit's teachings. So that's why I had to go over to explain. There is here a book, yes, Daniela says to us, there is a book, the 13th Apostle, which talk about it. I don't think we have this book in English. Yes, I don't think we have this book in English also. I haven't read this book, but I heard, because some people consider Dr. Bezerra de Menezes the 13th Apostle, though he wasn't in the group of the 12, because his work was very important, and he allowed himself this huge transformation, and he helped in the Christian movement after. A lot of people, they call him the 13th apostle. Claudia says here something. Okay. I suggest that books of Spiritism psychology from Joana de Angelis, plus therapy helps us in our forgiveness. 100%, guys. Joana de Angelis, for that, she's the master. She's the master, she's the master, and she's the master. I'm sorry. Of course, she's the master because she's using the teachings of Jesus. But the books of Joana de Angelis, they are wonderful for self-forgiveness and for forgiveness. I don't have the names here of the books itself, but if you guys go on YouTube, guys, if you guys don't really have maybe difficulties to read, because some people, like myself, I love listening to audiobooks, because sometimes we are so busy, we don't have time to be sitting and reading a book as we have before, because we have our mobile phone, we have our computer, we have Instagram, Facebook, all these things all the time sending to us information. But go and try to listen to an audiobook, for example. And Joana de Angelis has a lot of audiobooks in Portuguese, if I'm not mistaken, but in English you may find Divaldo Franco's speeches with English subtitle. So perhaps if you want to learn more about the Joana de Angelis teachings, to go and find Divaldo Franco's speech with English subtitles may be a really good option. Or you guys can try to search, because I think there are some books which are being translated into English from Joana de Angelis. Thank you, Ka. Ka said here that I gave to her a lot of things to think about. Ka, I'm terrible sorry to say, but if I gave you things to think about, imagine about myself. Because this speech is not for you guys, it's for me. Those who know me from the Spirit Center, they know how many times I spoke about forgiveness, about self-forgiveness in the Spirit Center once we were open. And guys, please don't think that's because I'm lazy or because I don't have other speeches. No, I have several speeches which I do, but I talk about these two topics because these two topics are something which I still have to learn, which I still struggling myself to let things go, to forgive the others, and to forgive myself, to have a better life. When I mean better, I mean to walk freely without this burden on our shoulders. That's why I keep coming here and talking about these two topics. And that's why I bring these examples, such as Bezerra de Menezes, Paulo de Tarso, Peter, because these examples, they touch my heart. Because they're examples of people which were like us. They were really like us, full of vices, full of things to improve, but they tried harder, harder and harder. And for some of them, such as the apostle Judas, took several incarnations, but they were able to progress. If they are able to progress, we are able to progress too. And that's why I keep insisting talking about these two topics. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, everyone. Claudia says here that there is Spiritism platform, which I believe you can find information there. And also, I'm gonna leave here, guys, a few things here that if you guys, if anyone has any kind of psychological issue, if you guys want to talk to a psychologist, you guys can send an email to this link, just at this address which I'm leaving here. This is a group of psychologists here in Ireland. They are not spiritists at all. There is no relation with spiritism at all. They are psychologists. Okay. And if you guys have any issue, try to send an email to them. They are maybe able to help you, or maybe they're gonna try someone to try to help you. And in this case here, we have also the fraternal gathering here in Dublin. This, we can say that's a kind of fraternal assistance, atendimento fraterno, as we say back in Brazil. That's related to spiritism, but here we don't say anything that you guys have to do or you guys don't have to do. Most of the time, someone will be just listening to you. Also here, we have the Samaritans for anyone who is maybe having you know, suicidal thoughts or need any kind of helps. The Samaritans group, they are really great group to give a call if you are in a difficult situation. Again, if they are not able to help you, they're gonna try to find someone, to help you, or try to find a way of sending you, not send you, but trying to give you some direction. And yes, guys, that's it for today. And as I said, though nobody can go back and make a new beginning, anyone can start over and make a new ending. That's Chico Xavier. And that's what I try to say to myself a lot of times. We cannot change the past, but we can go in a new journey and make things different. I'm passing already the time here, guys. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who are here with us today. I'd like to thank all the workers of the Spirit Society of Ireland. Thank you to the opportunity to be here giving this talk. I really appreciate this opportunity because it's a way of spreading spiritism, but it's a way of helping myself also. Thanks to everyone who is here. I think Tanya, just before we go, Tanya said something here. Great to know that we can settle things by taking on projects of offset mistakes rather than beating ourselves up. To focus our energy on positive activities. Then we might even at times enjoy. Some find that easier than others who don't get lost in guilt, but move on into an action instead. I agree with you, Tanya. Sorry, I'm reading like this because I was quite emotional. But yes, we can try to do things. We can try to settle matters with those that maybe we damage, but we can try to settle matters in different ways in life. As you said here, to put action, instead of having the burden on our shoulders, to put good actions into practice. So I'm passing the time, 5 minutes already. So I'm gonna say thank you to everyone again, and ask everyone to close our eyes if you guys want, if you guys feel comfortable. I would like to ask everyone to take a deep breath, try to stay in a comfort position. This final prayer, I'm gonna try to do in a different way. Let's try to imagine ourselves in a garden, in a beautiful garden, full of flowers, with the sun above us, the noise of water passing by. We are in a really peaceful place. Let's try to imagine ourselves there enjoying that nature. And let's try to imagine a child, which is us. Let's imagine ourselves maybe as we are now as an adult, but let's imagine ourselves that we are seeing ourselves in front of us. And let's say to that child, or let's say to ourselves now as we are, I forgive you. Doesn't matter what you did, I forgive you. Let's forgive ourselves. Let's give the chance to us to keep going. And if the world, and if those that we committed these bad actions don't forgive us, let's give to them time also to forgive. Let's hug ourselves and say to ourselves, everything is gonna be alright. Tomorrow will come better than today. Let's leave this burden behind. Let's hug ourselves and say from the bottom of our hearts, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for all the actions I did. But let's bear in mind also that we have to take actions to keep this process as smooth as possible. And if you have someone to to ask forgiveness, go and try to do it today. Make a prayer and ask forgiveness to that person. Thank God for the opportunity here, and so be it. Thank you very much, everyone, guys. I hope you guys had a good time here. Again, thanks for the opportunity. Thank the Spirit Society of Ireland for giving this opportunity. And I wish you all a lovely Sunday, a happy Sunday, and I hope that it made us to think about a little bit. Thank you, guys. See you. Take care. Bye bye.